extend my welcome to the people attending. So as Andrew said, I'm Donna Warrener. I'm the People Development Director here at Lloyd's Register. So it's great to be able to share our journey and our story with you today, and hopefully it will provoke some questions and thoughts and comments at the end. So let me just tell you what I will talk about today, and thought my slides weren't going to move there, but thankfully they have. Excuse me. So I'll give a brief introduction to who we are. So who are Lloyd's Register? It's kind of important to have the context of what we do as an organisation, because it will help to understand or cement a little bit about why we've taken the direction we've taken. I will, of course, talk about our journey, so how we've implemented our learning experience platform and what got us to that, to the point we are at today. And then I thought it was also useful to share a bit about where we're going in the future and some of the things that we're looking at, and already talking to TalenTeam about in support of our people and organisational strategies. So first of all, I'm just going to share a very brief video around which will help introduce Lloyd's Register. So hopefully you can see, you'll be able to see and hear this once I hit play. So that's essentially our kind of advert, if you like, but let me explain a little bit more about what we do and why our development, learning and our people are really important. So we're, as you might have noticed in the video, we're an organisation that's been around since 1760. So we have a real rich history and heritage. We're unique in some ways because we're a commercial business, but all the profits that are generated, or sorry, a percentage of the profits that are generated fund our owners, who are the LR Foundation, who are a charity, and they do a lot of work to support research and development in engineering related subjects, and we all, I guess, stand together for our purpose of working together for a safer, sustainable and thriving ocean economy. We are located globally, so in many countries around the world, and essentially we're a professional services business. So the knowledge and technical capabilities of our people are our product. So that's what we sell to our clients. And I was lucky enough to be out seeing this in action in a couple of our shipyards in Korea just a couple of weeks ago. So it was great to see the first-hand kind of how our colleagues put what they learn into practice and support our clients to do what they need us to do. So a bit about our SuccessFactors journey, I guess, is what I've called it. It's a little bit more than that, but of course the product is that we use is a SuccessFactors product. So back in December 2016, well, let me take you back a little bit further. Prior to 2016, we didn't have any kind of learning management system or an integrated HR suite. So as part of a bigger transformation in the organization, we deployed the SuccessFactors HR suite, which included the learning module. So in order to make that work, we also created the Lloyd's Register Academy. So in February 2017, we had the technology. We were then able to launch the LR Academy, which essentially was a centralised learning function. So we'd not had that before either. We'd run some compliance training because, again, one thing to mention is our industry is heavily regulated. So we do have a lot of requirements in terms of our people's development and keeping track of their capabilities. So it was unusual, I think, not to have had a centralized learning function, but in 2016, 2017, we kind of put that right, if you like. So we now have a centralized function, which I'm responsible for. And at the time in 2017, the SuccessFactors product really gave us the platform to be able to launch our academy in the way that we thought would really support the development of our colleagues. So once we'd spent a bit of time utilising what effectively was the LMS, the Learner Management System from SuccessFactors, we started to realise that there was probably more that we could do to help colleagues around the world not only learn from some of the content that we had available, that we were now able to present to them, but also learn from each other. So be able to collaborate from a learning perspective, share their expertise, share their knowledge, and really work together on opportunities and challenges that they might have that enabled them to learn and access learning at the same time. So in 2018, we also switched on the SAP Jam product, which enabled us to have much better collaboration from a learning perspective. And in LR, we call it the learning zone. Not wanting to rest on our laurels, we're always looking at how we can improve and update the service, and particularly deliver a good experience to our colleagues from a development perspective. So in the thick of COVID, which seems like a lifetime away now, but in the thick of the lockdowns, we then launched the TalenTeam product blend, which gave us the opportunity to really enhance the learner experience with the learner experience platform. And I have to say, it might have seemed like an unusual time to switch it on during all of the, I guess, the difficulties that came with COVID, but actually also supported our colleagues greatly in the pivot from office-based working to majority of our non-frontline colleagues working from home. So it actually turned out to be probably the right time to launch it, although we didn't, of course, plan it to be launched during that particular time. It just happened to coincide. So with the learning experience platform, we've now got an opportunity to pull everything that we've got in our ecosystem, which I'll talk a little bit about later in the presentation, and surface that more easily for our colleagues. But again, we definitely don't want to have a static product. So we're always looking at how do we deliver a better service to our colleagues? How do we support the ongoing growth and change in the organization, which inevitably then provides a better and greater experience to our end customer? So we're continuing to evolve and improve the colleague experience, and are always working and probably badgering TalenTeam to say, can we just do this? Is there an opportunity for this to happen? And I think we'll continue to do that as we continue to roll out and achieve our people strategy. So I wanted just to show you a little bit about what we've done with the solution and the platform. And rather than jump into a live demo that may be fraught with technology challenges from our end, because I'm in an office and sometimes that doesn't always lend itself greatly to bandwidth. So I'm going to run it slightly differently and take you through some slides where I've got some screenshots that will essentially show you what the product looks like without it being a live demo. It's a little less risky, I think. So one thing that is really important to us is, as I've already mentioned, is the colleague experience. And as much as possible, we want that to be a personalised, or certainly appear to be a personalised experience for our colleagues. This, what you see on the left-hand side of this screen is our landing page. So this is when our colleagues click onto the learning zone, this is what they see. You will see that it's presenting them, it has their name, and this is obviously my homepage, and it also allows them to personalize their experience. So initially they get presented with areas of interest, they select areas of interest, and then the content is much more relevant to them. This homepage is actually the result of quite a lot of colleague feedback, where colleagues really wanted to have everything that was related to their development and their career progression, or progression in role. Actually, doesn't need to be the next promotion, it could just be growth in their current role. They wanted to have everything easily accessible from one landing page. So this left-hand side image is us doing that for our colleagues, so they can access career pathways, they can access a group of career coaches. We've also pulled in performance and development goals from another SuccessFactors module. The PPP that you see here is performance management. That's what we call our performance management process. So that's all accessed, or can be accessed, from this screen as well. We've got an internal opportunity marketplace. So this is where we post our internal short-term assignments, which again colleagues can access from here, and a number of other elements that they can access from one easy page. The image on the right hand side, again, this would be a scroll if I was demoing this live, but the image on the right hand side shows my learning plan. So it's showing the things that are available for me to complete. And it also shows, again, based on my relevant interests and favorites, it's shown me the content that is relevant to what I've selected when I made my choices initially. And of course I can go in and change that at any point. Then the bit that you see right at the bottom of the page is the feed. So this is where we have colleagues chat, collaboration, all based around learning. So we do have other collaboration tools such as Yammer, but we use the feed on our Blend platform to focus solely on collaboration from a learning perspective. Personalization continues, so it is a bit of the name of the game for us here. That is what our colleagues are after. So again, this is enabling colleagues to be able to see learning on their pages, which is relevant and pulled in for them. So the image on the left-hand side is, as I mentioned, pulls through the goals. And if I'd scrolled through the arrows, you would have seen all of my performance goals. it can see that we've got a highlights section where it will show me some of the learning I can click on just to continue, and I can do it all from that section there. Again, my learning plan is surfaced here along with recommendations, and these can be recommendations from other colleagues. It could be recommendations from my team or any other of the administrators that we've got based around the world who can recommend learning to groups of colleagues, to individuals, to everyone should they wish. Alongside that, we curate a lot of content into different, I guess, different methods of presenting the content, one of them being playlists. So here I can either curate the content myself as an individual, so I can pull in different pieces of learning under titles. So you'll see here that I've got some learning around customer focus, some learning around employee engagement, and I can pull all of that into a playlist, which means I can have it easily accessible for me, but again, I can also recommend that to other colleagues if I feel that that's relevant. We also surface curated content in our leadership programs. So this is just a snapshot of our leadership programs. The program on the left-hand side is an award-winning program, which we're very proud of. We won Learning Technology Award and Learning Excellence Awards for this product, which is solely virtual, or a fully virtual / digital product and program, which colleagues access via the Learning Zone. Again, there was a little bit of, I suppose, trepidation, if you like, when we decided that we would run a fully virtual leadership program. We are an organisation who traditionally liked to run a lot of classroom learning. So there was a bit of reluctance, I guess, for colleagues previously to access digital content and really feel like that was part of their development. So it was a bit of a leap of faith running a leadership program that was solely virtual / digital. But I have to say, not only were we recognised, as I said, from an awards perspective, but the feedback from colleagues was really, really positive, and we continue to run it in exactly the same way that we designed it to colleagues to date. We've probably had about 400 managers attend this program so far, with some great, not only feedback, some great output from a business perspective, where we know that colleagues who are in teams of managers who've gone through the program provide more, are more engaged, and we see that from our colleague engagement survey, that because we did a bit of a test to look at colleagues of teams of team managers who've gone through the program and team managers who hadn't, and there were higher scores demonstrated for those teams where their manager had gone through the program. We don't just use it though for fully virtual programs. So the image you see on the right hand side is the other end of the scale. One is the entry level leadership program. The one on the right hand side, which is called Strategy Interaction, is our senior leadership program, and that is run a bit of in a bit of a hybrid. So we have largely virtual workshops and action learning groups, but we do also bring them together for a couple of residentials in between the program. But again, they access content through the Learning Zone, which we have curated on their behalf, but also encourage them to share any learning that they access out with the program and feed it in. So we're constantly trying to get colleagues to use the platform to access the content that we give them, but also share any content that they feel is useful, whether that be a YouTube video or a Harvard Business Review article they might have seen, or it could be an external piece of learning they've been on. They might have attended a webinar, for instance, and they might be able to share a recording, and we encourage them to do that with their peer groups and their teams. A couple of other things that we've also done. We've recently turned on a manager dashboard. So that's the image on the left hand side. So what this does is it gives line managers the opportunity to look at how are their team doing, how many courses are they completing, how many pieces of learning are they doing, but importantly, how much time they spend learning as well. You can drill into the data in a bit more detail as well underneath this, but I just wanted to kind of show a snapshot of the manager dashboard, because again, this is one thing that managers are finding really useful, to be able to see it in an easy graph format without having to pull any kinds of reports from anywhere. We're also running a campaign at the moment where we want to not only get more people learning, but again, get people into the habit of sharing what they've learned, sharing new things that they think other colleagues would be interested in. And you can see we've got some videos from some of our colleagues talking about what they've learned and how they've shared it. Our Learn, Reflect and Share campaign is something that we work with our internal comms team to get out into all of our comms channels, so that we can get people to drive that engagement through colleague and peer comms, as opposed to it being pushed down through either through my team or pushed through any of our senior leaders. And we've also got a little leaderboard here, so we encourage people, and we don't tell them how we do this, but we allocate different points to different things, whether that's recommending content, whether that's sharing content, whether that's completing content, and colleagues can build up points with prizes awarded throughout the year for those with the highest number of points. We also want colleagues to be able to pull learning, of course, as well as us pushing it and curating it on their behalf, so they can still go in and browse any content that they like. We have tried to make it a little bit easier, so we've got a number of academies so that colleagues can go and look in different academies depending on their role and where they're based, and what they do, or what they might be interested in their next role in the organization. And they can also easily see any up and coming events, so they can register on any classroom learning or any virtual learning, and also request schedules. So if they're looking for something and they don't see a program or a date of an event available yet, they can also add their name to a wait list, should they have an interest in that particular topic. Alongside that, we're also looking at different ways to present content to colleagues in the organisation. So this is an example from our DE&I content, where we present this to colleagues based on topics. So you can see we are presenting content whether you're new into your DE&I journey, whether you want to learn more about how to become an ally, whether you're a leader and you want to learn more about how to become or how to improve being an inclusive leader. We present content based on different topics, and of course the product enables us to pull everything in from all of our suppliers to be able to do that. We also do this role-based content, so we can present based on your specific role in the organization. This is an example from our commercial academy, where we look at, do you sell to clients? Are you supporting the sales organization, or do you lead a team of salespeople? And you can access content dependent on which of those roles you might fulfill in the organization. But I mentioned earlier that we can't and don't do this just with me and my team, and I guess the group of people we have around the world. But we couldn't continue to evolve the development of learning in LR without the ecosystem that we have with our external partners and our internal champions and SMEs. So, of course, we have a great partnership and relationship with both TalenTeam and SAP, who really, I guess, the benefit to our partnerships with both of those organizations is they're really looking to understand, what are we trying to do from a strategic perspective? Where are we taking learning in Lloyd's Register? And how can the technology be a real enabler for us to do that? How can we better utilize what we're doing and actually being part of things like this and other customer communities really help us to think about, well, how are other organizations using the technology? Would that work for us? Is this something we've not thought of? Is there something where that we could get more benefit from what we're already doing if we present things in a different way? So I think the ecosystem with our external partners is absolutely key to the success and driving the product and the people and learning strategies in LR forward. Of course, we have a number of content providers that we work with as well, and a number of strategic consultancy partners that we also work with alongside a whole group of external facilitators, coaches, etc., that we also bring on board to make the LR Academy and the learning zone and the learning offering we provide in LR the thing that it is today. It's definitely a team effort, and when I say team, I mean the ecosystem and various internal and external other internal and external partners. So that's kind of a bit about our journey and how we've got to where we've got to today. But as I said at the beginning, and as I talk through the journey, this is not about standing still at all. This is not a right. We've got the product we want, and it will be and do what we need it to do for the future. Absolutely not. So, what is it that we're trying to achieve in the future? Excuse me. So quite a lot of things that we're trying either to do or do more of. So one thing that we're definitely looking to utilize better is the data and insight that we currently have across our whole SuccessFactors suite, in our blend LXP platform, and across the rest of our business actually. So we want to be able to use all of that information that we've got available, pull it into something meaningful, and use it to provide, first of all, data to the organization so that we can prove that some of the things we do are making a difference in the organization and or where we should focus our efforts and investment. We also want to be able to use that data to drive some of the outputs that come from my team. So how do we, for instance, pull in the data that we have in our performance and goals module, in our development modules, in colleagues' development plans, to really look at what is it that our colleagues want and need in order to grow in role, and how do we help them either, or how do we provide that, or how do we help them access that more easily. So there's a lot of work going on at the moment around data and insight, and how we can pull that information into something that absolutely makes sense and resonates in the business. A seamless and a frictionless colleague experience is definitely our goal. We're trying to make things easier, quicker and simpler for colleagues across the whole of our HR offering. We want everything we do from a colleague experience perspective to be an enabler rather than either a necessity or a hindrance. And part of that is linked to providing learning in the flow of work. So again, we are constantly working on putting learning where people go. So for instance, we're having conversations with TalenTeam now about how do we surface learning in Salesforce, for instance, so that our commercial colleagues can access learning where they go most often, so they don't have to keep coming in and out of systems in order to get the learning that they need, which of course is linked to the next point, which is learning that is just in time and not just in case. So I'm sure many people would agree, gone are the days where, you know, you kind of get some learning at some point and you might not need it or use it for 3-6 months. We need to have learning available for colleagues just in time. So if you're going into a potential difficult conversation with either a client or a colleague, then you want to be able to surface learning or top tips that might help you with that difficult conversation now, not try and remember it from a leadership program that you maybe did 12 months ago. Not that I'm suggesting leadership programs won't continue to be a thing. Of course they will, but we also need to continue that embedding and surfacing of learning that may be learned on these programs just in time and just when it's needed. You've probably seen from the presentation so far, personalized development is a real driver for us. We want it to feel and be something that's useful for me as an individual at different points in my career. And we're also doing a lot of work on talent segmentation right now, and again, having personalized development for our talent populations is really key to making sure that we can offer programs that support development of our rising talent populations and are also the right thing for the business at the right time. I guess that's also linked to skills and capabilities. There's a lot of talk and research and white papers on this right now out in the learning world about how do skills and capabilities and the development of them, how will technology support that? Again, we're having conversations right now with TalenTeam and SAP on how we get this information and utilize it in a way that really supports growth for our people, enables them to grow and move through their career framework, or just grow and move and be more valuable in their current roles. So we're doing a lot of work in this space right now. I guess same with knowledge management. We have a real need to look at how we manage knowledge and the wealth of it that we have in our organization. So being an organization with a very rich heritage and history has its absolute benefits. It also has some challenges. We've got a lot of people in our organization who've been here a long time. Again, that's not a negative, but what that does mean is we have an aging workforce. So an aging workforce that has a lot of knowledge, some of which is in their heads, as you can imagine. And we're working on how do we, first of all, bring new and younger talent into our organisation and into the industry more broadly. So we're working, as I said, with Lloyd's, with the LR Foundation, our charity, to look at the research that they do and work that they do with engineering in schools, colleges, universities, and particularly around all of the STEM subjects. How do we support and help that so that we can drive more young people into the maritime industry. But knowledge management and how we transfer and utilize that around the organization is really key. Again, these are all linked together because the internal talent mobility, of course, is part of how we build skills and capability and how we manage our knowledge. So I touched on an internal opportunity marketplace. So again, how do we surface any internal opportunities that we might have, whether that's a 4-week opportunity to work on a project, or whether that's a 1 or 2 year long-term international assignment. We want to be able to surface those opportunities to colleagues across the business, and where needed, provide the relevant development to support that move or that opportunity to work on a project. We're trying to look at particularly short-term opportunities as the opportunity to get some very quick and easy development, whilst also providing some support to the department or the team that might need to have somebody working with them for a shorter period of time. So that's something we launched about 6 months ago, and it's already becoming something that people are getting used to seeing. So we're seeing more and more opportunities being posted on our internal marketplace. And a big one for us, and maybe come as a surprise, but mobile adoption is not where we'd want it to be right now. I don't think we have a lot of our learning content is mobile enabled, of course, but trying to drive adoption of learning on mobiles inside of work, where we know people do this outside of work, is a little bit of a challenge for us for lots of reasons, which I'm sure other organizations are struggling with as well. There's a piece around devices, there's a piece around people not wanting to have work apps on their own devices, and of course the kind of security and authentication that comes with having some of these things on personal phones. So if anybody's got any top tips on how we crack that one, that would be great to know. But again, it's high on our agenda to again help people with that kind of just-in-time learning. We want them to be able to access and use content wherever they might be, and many of our people are not sat behind desks for the majority of their working week. So mobile and tablet is really the mechanism for us to be able to get learning to more people at the time that they need it. So that's a whistle stop, I guess, through what we are focusing on in the future, and a bit about our journey. So I will open the floor to any questions. And Andrew or Callum, I can't see whether there are any questions, so I'll be guided by yourselves around whether there are any.
Indeed, thank you, Donna. And just to say, thank you very much. That was a really fantastic insight there into your business. So thank you very much. And just on a personal note, I think it's really great to see some of the updates there. As usual, absolutely looking totally on brand. I think the experience that you've designed there looks absolutely fantastic. And great to see that you've added some new things, like for example the manager dashboards, and getting value from some of that additional data. And also love how you've connected the gamification, so the points and the leaderboards to prizes. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about that, Donna? Are those prizes kind of awarded randomly, or is there a science behind that? How do you sort of link those points to prizes?
Well, that's a good question, Andrew. So we've I guess the science is really in how we've awarded the points, if you like. And whilst I haven't got I can't tell you off the top of my head how many points you get for which thing. What we've tried to do is not just award points and therefore prizes for people who do the most learning, because what we found was so again, we run an annual Learning at Work week, which we do out with the kind of UK version, because being a global organisation, but we also run a leaderboard on that. And what we find is sometimes it isn't a fair and equitable playing field if you award points just on the amount of learning that's being done, because some of our colleagues who were frontline colleagues who are with customers don't have the same maybe time available as some of our colleagues who might have an easier time if they're sat behind a desk in terms of time available to learn. So what we've tried to do with the leaderboard is to weight some of our points on things like recommendations, points on sharing. Of course, there are still points for amount of for learning completed, for instance, and the leaderboard is really that mixture of collaboration points alongside learning completed. And how we award prizes is, again, we have a recognition platform, and we're able to give kind of spotlight awards. So quarterly we award awards if you like, through our spotlight award for the people who've got the highest points, or who we recognized as being, the people who were sharing the most, or whatever the context might be. It's early days. We've not been doing that for years, so we're still kind of finding our feet with that, but that's how we're doing it so far. We will seek some feedback and maybe change depending on the feedback, but so far it seems to be working.
Excellent. And we do have the chat open. I can't see any questions as of yet. I think we'll just wait, sort of one more minute just to see if anyone else has any questions. But Donna, again, thank you so much. I think that was, really valuable to get that insight into the LR business. So.
And Andrew, just to see if anybody wants to reach out with this session, it's not always easy to ask questions or even think about the question that you might want to ask during it. But if anyone wants to reach out, you can find me on LinkedIn, or by all means drop me an email. So I'm happy to take any questions out with the session if people feel more comfortable with that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Donna. Very kind of you to offer. And I would highly advise anyone watching this to reach out. Donna is a wealth of experience in this area. So, okay, well, Donna, I can't see any questions in the chat, so I think we can probably call time there. So thank you very much again.
You're welcome.
And look forward to speaking to you soon.
Thanks. Cheers, Andrew.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.